All righty, let's take a comfortable seat. Welcome to Shakti. Close your eyes and allow your body to settle into wherever it is. Just feel everything release. Take a couple of deep breaths down in the belly, allowing the energy to drop in. Today, I'm thinking a lot about a word. It's one of the sutras. It comes from the sutras, and it's one of the yamas, excuse me. And the word itself is asteya, which typically means non-stealing or non-grasping. The way I want to present it this morning is appreciation. Having appreciation for your life, your experience, being here on the mat, all of it. There's a common phrase, your life isn't happening to you, it's happening for you, whatever that may be. And so as we practice this morning with this idea of asteya and appreciation for every moment, let's bring the hands together, touch the thumbs to the heart center, slide the thumbs upward just a little bit, kind of floating the rib cage away from the belly. Soften the shoulders. And hold any intention that you might have for yourself this morning. Take a nice deep breath here. And as you exhale, you can release your hands and then softly open your eyes. All right, so this morning we're going to start a little differently. We're going to start lying down on our backs. And if you guys have 2 blocks, we're going to work with 2 blocks today. All righty. So starting lying on your back, the very first thing we do is we reset the pelvis, right? So you lie down, bend your knees, reset your pelvis. Picking your hips up and then putting your hips back down. And if you're on a fairly firm surface and your your carpet isn't too cushy, you'll be able to feel your right and left sacrum. I want you to notice if one feels heavier than the other. And then I want you to gently rock your pelvis back and forth, or up and down, how we might say it, and see if you can feel a sort of an even pressure on the right and left sacrum as you move back and forth. Finding a middle ground here. We worked on this before. I want you to bring your legs up so that you're in an upside down tabletop position. So imagine you're on the floor with your hands on the floor and your knees on the floor. Only now you're upside down. So keeping that even pressure, I want you to just take one arm behind you, reach it back, see if you can keep everything still. Come back to center. And then take the other arm behind you. And then come back to center. And then take one leg away from you. And remember, this is the harder one. And come back to center. And the other leg behind, out away from you. And come back to center. Good. Wrap your hands around your shins. Give yourself a little hug. Take a second here. And then go back. Tabletop. So thinking about everything being in a neutral position. Take your one arm back, and if you can, take the other leg away. So this is traditional bird dog. Come back to center. Or some people call this the dead bug. I like to call it bird dog because it's the same thing as tabletop. And come back to center. Let's do that twice more if you're with me. One arm, opposite leg, warming up the middle of the body. Bringing our mind into the game. Okay. breathing. I like to inhale when I stretch apart and exhale when I come back together, but you might like it the other way. Just keep breathing. Try not to hold your breath. After the third one, knees to chest, give them a little hug. Good, and then put your feet down. So next movement, we're gonna cross the right ankle over the left. Very familiar movement. I want you to check in with yourself. Did your pelvis tip? Did you arch your back or flatten your back? See what's going on. And then I just want you to allow the legs to gently shift over to the left. You're gonna feel this whole thing change, and that's all right. I'm asking you to do that on purpose. And then come back up and shift over to the right. Take it easy, don't go fast. Come back center. And then bring your legs up away from you. So just that movement brought in the core body. So taking your foot back down again, and then lifting your foot back up again. One more time, down, tap the floor, and up. So typically we think of this as a stretch. I'm using it as a working action. And then lower yourself back down. Now stay here, keep your pelvis neutral. See if you can lift your pelvis up and stay neutral. Now I don't expect you to go high. I just want you to pay attention to if you're tipping all over the place. Lower down, tap, and come back up. Lower down, tap, and come back up. And when you tap, are you on one side and not the other? So just notice that you're trying to go down completely level. One more time, down and up. Good, relax, switch your legs around. So once you've got your cross, I want you to check in with yourself again. Make sure you're not pressing your lower back into the floor. Make sure your hips didn't twist. And then you want to twist, let your legs go to the right. Let your whole pelvis move. And you might keep your hands on your body just to see like what's happening, like what actually happens with this simple movement. And then over the other way. And then come back up to center. And then keeping everything in neutral, see if you can lift your pelvis. Lower it down and then bring the legs towards you. And then lower it down. Don't lift the pelvis yet, just lift the legs again. I almost forgot this segment. Try not to let your back move here. You're trying to figure out, well, when I do this one action, it's really hard, I can't keep neutral. That's information for you. Now keep your foot on the floor and see if you can lift your pelvis. A little wobbly on this side. And down. I had some body work yesterday and I'm sure I'm not stable. You know, my body is trying to recover from the travel. My body worker likes to call it a well-compensated compensation. Meaning your body isn't really in a good position. You're not neutral, you're not humming along, but you think you are. Good, and then relax. Go ahead and uncross your legs, bring your knees to your chest again. Give them a little hug. Alrighty, so roll over to your side, push yourself up and away, and then we're gonna come to tabletop. So thinking about where we just were, we were just on our backs in this exact same position. So I want to do the same pattern just to see, right? So allow your spine to arc. Think about cat and cow a couple of times. Just allowing the freedom. Okay, and then find your neutral. Find your neutral. Make sure your shoulders are plugged in. Make sure you're pulling up from the front of your body, kind of matching to the back of the body. And then let's just start with one arm at a time. So reaching the arm forward, keeping everything neutral and lowering it down. And try the other arm. And lower it down. Now try a leg. Go nice and slow. And lower it down. And other leg. Isn't it funny how this feels so different than the other one, right? Now, try all left arm, right leg. Lower it down. Switching sides, going super slow. Having appreciation for where you are today, that asteya. Rather than thinking about it in a negative, non-grasping, greediness, trying to, emulate somebody or something that is not you. You are the most unique you there is. We have appreciation for who we are and what we do and what we have to offer the world. All right, take a moment to rest. You can stretch back towards your heels if you like. Just taking a moment here. And then coming back up, we're going to keep the pelvis still. We're going to move the upper body. So we're just going to come down on the forearms. And then we're going to come back up on the forearms. Now, what arm did you lead with? I led with my left. So now I'm going to lead with my right. And come back up with my right. And then I'm going to lead with my left. And come up with my left. So just noticing what you're doing, placing your elbows down where your hands were, coming more into a forearm position, but your pelvis is staying still. Right arm goes down, and then right arm pushes up, and vice versa, okay? Last two. Working arms, working shoulders. Good. And then reach back. Just get off your hands for a second, stretch out, maybe even open and close your hands a couple of times, or rotate your wrists. And then come back up to center. Turn your toes under. We've been working on this one. Make sure you're in neutral, and you're going to hover the knees. 3, 2, 1, and then release. Take a breath. Exhale, hover the knees. And release. Got one more. Take a breath. Exhale and hover the knees. Terrific. All right, walk your hands forward a little bit. Take a breath. Hover the knees. So your arms are now way ahead of your shoulders, and then go to downward facing dog. Try to go in slow motion. Walking your feet wherever you need to. Spinning your inner arms towards your ears. Maybe pedaling your heels. Think about sitting bones going to the sky. Evening out your right and left side body. As you feel ready, start to walk to the front of the mat. Bend your knees and stay in a forward fold. Release your head, neck, and shoulders. Now I'm bending my knees a lot today just because I had body work done. I don't want to overstress my back. You do what you know is good for you. Drop your hips down, look forward, bring your arms with you. So now you're in a kind of a modified chair pose. Think core body. So are you rounding? Are you overarching? Can you find something in the middle? Inhale, come to stand, big reach. And then exhale, palms down and forward. Good. Finally come to standing. So all of that was to help you warm up. I'm going to grab my weights. I'm using a lighter set today just because I'm honoring my body workers ask. I had some work done yesterday and she made me promise not to overdo it. And if you want to use a block between your legs, well, no, not yet. Not yet. Take your legs apart. And bend your knees just a little bit. So I want you to feel comfortable here. I don't want you to overwork. We'll get there eventually. So your arms are going to be in front of you, palms down. Let's start with one arm at a time. We're going to start with one arm forward. Take it out to the side. Bring it back forward and down. Now, if that out to the side movement feels too hard, stay just forward. Okay? So you can go up and down just in front of you. Do it again. Up, open, in, and down. We're just doing one arm at a time. I want you to see how it feels. All right, now, next one, let's try 2 arms, see what it feels like. 2 arms are always harder than 1. And the next time your arms go down, see if you can sit a little bit. Come up, open, close, sit. Up. Notice I'm not standing all the way up. I'm kind of in this little baby squat when I'm standing, trying to keep some tension on my legs. And down. And your squat is yours, okay? It's not mine. So you might say, well, I'm getting down there pretty far, but you don't have to. Good. All right, keeping the weights low. We're going to slide them up the body till they come up to the collarbones. Slide them back down. Slide them up. Slide them down. In a straight line. So your body's trying to stay straight up and down. If your knees hurt, don't go all the way down. Just go partially down. Up. Down. If you've ever had body work, it's really common to be sore afterwards. Because it's not because they push on your muscles. She didn't do any massage. It was all energy work. She just released a lot of things. Good. Last time. Up and down. Good. Bring your legs together. Now you can put the block between there if you like. I'm going to turn. So traditional chair. So hinging and hinging. Arms are straight down. Palms are facing backwards. You're going to push straight back. From here, you're going to squeeze your shoulder blades together. Lift your toes to stay in your legs. And bend your elbows and push away. Bend your elbows and push away. So it's a focus to the back of the arm and the back of the body. And in and push. And in and push. Let's do 2 more and push. All right. Stay with this position and just stand straight up. Notice where your arms are. They're a little bit behind you. That's actually a good thing. Take a breath, roll the shoulders. All righty. Come off of one leg, and if you want, you can kind of pay attention to your pelvis here. When you step back, I want you to be able to keep this square. So don't go so far back that you can't do that. All right, put both weights in the arm that you step back on, and the other hand's going to sit on your hips here. You're just going to curl and lower. So we're in a little bit of a balanced pose. Can you keep your right glute or the leg that you put behind you active so you're not just hanging out in space? Your body will feel really strong that way. And up. And last time. And up. And down. Now bring your weights to your chest. Hold them there and take a little tap. Check in with yourself here. And then see if you can float your leg. If that feels okay and you want to go to the next movement, make sure your pelvis doesn't move. Make sure your back doesn't move. You're going to try to extend the leg. Breathe. Lower down. Try the other side. So step back. Find a comfortable place to be. Make sure you're firing this other glute. 2 weights in one hand, other hand on your pelvis. And curl, bicep curl, and down, and curl, and down, nice and slow. I'm on the ball of my back foot, so it's a little baby balance here. The body's really got to pay attention. It seems like a simple thing, but because you've got weight on one side of your body and you're off center, you have to work a little harder here. Last one. And then bring the weights directly to your chest so they're part of your body. Take a little tap here and then lift your leg. Standing balance, keeping pelvis neutral, keeping back still. See if you can extend your leg. Breathe. And I want you to imagine like you're getting taller here. Good. Lower yourself back down. Perfect. All right. So from here, I want you to take
you can take both of your blocks. It depends on what kind of blocks you have. I can do it with one, but we're gonna stand on them. So I'm gonna put two of them together so that I have a good base to stand on. And start with one leg, it doesn't matter which one. If you're mirror me, you're gonna probably start on your left. And just the fact that I have taken my legs in this uneven position, I have the tendency to shift my pelvis. So I want you to pay attention to that while we work, okay? So now we're gonna take the weights to that same side. I've got my right leg on the block. I'm gonna hold the weights on that arm. This other hand's gonna come up here. So it's very similar to what we just did. You're gonna stand, get off that left leg and curl your arm, and then come back down and release it. Push, see if you can balance, lower, and then just notice what you're doing here. Can you keep the center of your body contained as you shift up and down? Now we all go up and down stairs. We all do it, even if it's just one little step. We all have stairs that we have to manage. This is going up and down the stairs. When I'm with a friend of mine, she's got stairs in her whole house, and I'm really grateful she does, because she would not be very strong if she didn't. But I noticed she goes up the stairs, kind of pulling herself up with her railing. And when she comes down the stairs, she kind of falls, like down on the foot. And I'm like, doesn't it hurt your knees? And she goes, yeah. Like, oh my God. All right, last time, we're gonna stay standing. Bring the weights to your chest again and see if you can lift this leg. We did this without the blocks. Now, if you have foam blocks, this is really hard. Can you extend the leg? Think about your lower tailbone dropping down in your crown of your head. Whoop, see how I'm a little uneven? And then bend and step back down. Switch your sides. Switch your hands. And then we'll do this side. All right, so just make sure your feet are exactly in the center. I don't want anybody falling off. Shoulders are on your back, core body's engaged, and then you're going to start to step and curl, lower and release. So the timing. And because, again, you have weight on one side, I actually chose the easier side with the weight. Your body has to maneuver itself so that you can function and not fall down. Keeping your core engaged, keeping your pelvis neutral, shifting slowly up and down, really noticing. And if this feels like a good exercise, these are really good exercises for your knees, by the way. Do them every day. Last time, curl, stay close to the body. Lift this other leg. Now, it doesn't matter to me how high you lift it. I just don't want to lift it higher than your own hip socket. And then see if you can extend your leg. And your leg could be low or high. It doesn't matter. Is this level? Are you keeping, are you being honest with yourself? Good. Release and come down. Good. All right. So step off to one side. I'm just going to hold your weight here for a second. I want you to bend a little bit into like a chair pose. And your blocks are flat. They're at the flattest side. I want you to step over them. And step over them. And notice how I'm not standing up. I'm staying in this little crouched position. Stepping over. And stepping over. Good. So I'm not trying to stand up. I'm not trying to hop. I'm just saying, okay, my body knows. I don't even have to look at the blocks. My body knows. Up, over, and up, over. Good. All right. Come all the way to standing. Little challenge. Let's turn the blocks the next higher side up. So you made like a little wall. We're going to try it again. So you brought it up a little bit. So now it's not as wide, but it's a little taller. Come into that little squat. Weight close to your body. And then we step up and over. And up and over. Now this is your body knowing, oh, I have to step a little higher or I'm going to knock it over. So you guys, I know both of you guys work in the garden. So this is a lot of being able to manipulate yourself around, up and over, up and over. Isn't that funny how that one little thing, and if I was at my optimal here and I was really working, I'd be hopping, but I'm not doing that today. You're probably thinking, good. All right, stand all the way up. One more try. You know what I'm going to ask you to do. Make the wall taller. Just for fun. And if you look at that and go, I'm not doing that, keep it at that next level down. Last time. So sitting, little squat, up and over. Up and over. So you notice how much higher you have to lift your leg up. Up and over. Up and over. And you're just trying to play, right? You're like, oh, that's kind of fun. I like that. Up and over. But you might be feeling this in your upper thighs, because I'm making you work up high. Whoops. Up and over. Last time. And stand. Good job. All righty. Let's move the blocks for a moment off the mat and come to the top of your mat. Standing in Tadasana, palms forward. Just notice your own energy, noticing your own sense of self, having appreciation for being on the mat this morning. Engage your legs, draw the energy inward, lift the pelvic floor, draw the energy up the spine and out the crown of the head. Inhale, arms overhead. Bring your palms together. Exhale, start to bend forward and come to the floor. Inhale, come halfway up, lengthening the spine. Exhale, plant your hands and step back to plank pose. So this is our first plank pose of the day. Knees can be down. I'm going to do that today just to honor myself. But if you're working hard, legs up. We're just taking a breath here. Sensing and feeling the stability of the body after we moved it around like that. And then go ahead and find downward facing dog. If you're having any kind of back issues, you know not to lock your knees. Even if you can, it puts a lot of stress on the spine itself. If you want to get that extension in the back of your legs, which I highly recommend, just do one leg at a time. And when you're doing that, notice if you're moving your pelvis around. I used to see that all the time in class. I'd watch these women pedal their heels and their hips were like wiggling like I don't even like they were dancing. It was crazy. And then come back down and pause. Alrighty. This round on our tabletop, we're going to use the blocks. You've done this with me before. We're going to do one block under one knee and one block under the opposite hand. All right. Put it on the smallest or shortest level. So now you're crooked on purpose. You're crooked on purpose, and boy, does that feel wonky in my body today. Woo-wee. All right, let's start with the upper body. So keep the legs still, don't move them, and just lift the hand that's on the floor up so it's parallel to the block. And then put it back down. And lift. And down. So you can be out of neutral in your upper body too. And down. Okay, now stay down with your hands. Now do the same thing with your knee. And if your foot can touch the floor, the one that's on the block, do that because it'll help you be more stable. Lift the knee so it's parallel to the other knee, and then lower it back down. Lift, lower. Lift. Now, see, can you do both at the same time? Hand and knee up, hand and knee down. Hand and knee up, hand and knee down. Last time we're going to stay lifted and then try to do bird dog. Stretch, reach, feel, and then lower back down and pause. All right, was that fun? Switch sides. Now, if you get an automatic no, you put yourself in these wonky positions and your body says, not today, then just do everything flat surfaced, okay? Again, trying to set yourself up as well as you can, being completely crooked. This is a twist, a spinal twist happening in your body. Right hand or the hand on the floor is going to slide upward and then back down. And up and down. One more. So you're trying to level out your shoulders and down. Now do your knee. Lift and down. Does anybody feel like one side is a lot harder or a lot like it's got to move through a lot more space? Up and down. Okay, now do both together. Lift and lower and lift and lower. Last time. We're going to lift and stay lifted and then try to do bird dog from here. Now, if your toes of your foot that's on the knee are not touching the floor, it's really hard what you're doing. One more breath. And then exhale, lower down. Okay, let's move the blocks away. Move the blocks away. How much time do I have? All right, so come back to tabletop and let's come back to extended child this time. All right, so hips are back. I've got my toes turned under. I'm stretching my arms out, trying to bring my head in neutral. So after all of that asymmetrical work, your body likes to go back into symmetry. Come forward again, right over your hands. I'm going to stay in kneeling plank, but you can lift your legs and go into full plank. And count 3, 2, and 1. Good. Knees down and release. Just do a couple cat cows here. And then we'll come to a seated position. All right. So you're going to need your blocks again. And we're going to do something very similar to what we were doing before when we were standing up. So I'm going to face you. I'm going to sit on my bottom and I'm going to take my legs on the outside of my blocks. And what I want is I want your feet, maybe we should start on the inside. Your feet are in Dandasana in staff pose here. The more you lean back, the easier this is. The more you sit up straight, the harder it is. So I'm going to lean back, again, honoring my body. I want you to keep your pelvis neutral. Feel your bottom on the floor. And you're going to just lift your one leg up and come back down. Lift the other leg up and over and come back in. So I'm leaning back, but I'm not slouching. My shoulders are on my back. Up and over and back. Up and over and back. One more. Good. All right. Bend your knees. And I'm just turn here so you can see. Hold on to your shins. Sit up real straight. Lean back. Stay here or let go. So we're doing boat pose here. Press your feet into the floor. Try to imagine dragging your heels backward. Breathe. And then hold your shins, sit up nice and tall, and then slide your legs forward again. So we're going to do another round, but guess what we're going to do? Go up a level. Go up a level. We did the standing, remember? Okay. So I'm sitting on my sit bones. I'm not back on my tailbone. I'm up, but I'm just leaning back a little bit. And then we're going to try again. So up and over at the second level. This is hard. Up and over. And if it feels like it's too hard, try to lean back a little bit more. And if that feels too hard, put them down to the first level. Okay? Up and over. And down. Susie, you can stay where you are. I'm good. Yeah. And up and over. So we're at the second level here. Second level. And pause. Bend your knees, boat pose number 2. Hold on to your shins, sit all the way up, lean back. You can stay here and work here, or you can let go. And if you're letting go and you feel like you want to go to the next level, lift the balls of your feet up and try to dig your heels into the floor. Breathing, try to drag your heels back, lifting chest. Good. Hold on to your shins, sit up nice and tall, and then stretch your legs out for last round. Last round's the hardest. Highest. Again, you don't have to go up to this level, it's just a challenge. Lean back if you need to, but remember not to slouch. Keep your chest lifted. Here we go, up and over. Last bit. Up and over. And if you find this hard, these are the tops of your quadriceps, your hip flexors that are hooked up to your lower spine. And if they're not flexible and strong, you're going to have some issues. Up. Try not to slouch. I just caught myself doing it. One more time each leg. Up and over. And up and over. Bend your knees. Last boat pose. Sit up tall. Lean back. If you're letting go, let go. If you did the second level, lift your toes. And if you want to do the third level, 1 foot or both feet. I'm going to stay with 1 foot today. And I'm just going to switch my legs. Because again, I'm trying to honor my body. And down. Good. Hold on to your shins. Sit up nice and tall. And then go ahead and roll down to the floor. Lying on your back. Taking a moment here, maybe reset your pelvis. Alrighty. So finding your neutral, we started off here, finding your neutral. And we're going to work the legs a little bit, but we're going to work them a little differently. So walk your feet apart. Your toes can be on a little bit of an angle. If you want to use your weights, you can use them. I'll show you. I've got both of mine because I'm using these light ones. And if you're using your weights, bring your hands up. You can do this without the weights too, shoulders down, or you can just keep your your arms quiet. So start with the legs. So you're going to press into your feet and lift your hips up wherever you can so that you're in a wide-legged bridge. Make sure you're on your shoulders and not on your neck. And lower back down. Push. And if it feels a little off, you can adjust your stance a little bit. This is something we don't typically do. So your body's kind of like, what? What are you doing? Now, when you lower your hips this next time, bend your elbows and bring your weights above your head. And then push your arms up when your hips come up. Lower hands, lower hips. Push. Lower hands, lower hips. So these are squats. So if you hate doing squats, maybe your knees don't like them, this is a nice alternative. And up. Okay, now I'm going to ask you to keep your hips down on the floor. Leave your elbows bent if you're doing that. Walk your feet in kind of a neutral position, more of your typical bridge. And then we'll start here. Push your hips up and push your hands up. And I'm asking you to go as high as you can go without being on your neck. Bend your knees, bend your elbows. Push down. Try to make sure your whole foot is on the floor. You feel your big toes are down. Maybe the inner and outer heel. Try to work as evenly as you can. Now hold down, walk your feet all the way together. Knees and feet touch. We'll do one more round. Up and down. Now ask yourself, what position does it feel like you're getting the most out of? For me, it's the outer and closed. The one that's neutral, I could do that all day, and I'm sure it's because my body's used to it.
right? So I'm doing something different to keep my body awake, paying attention. One more time, knees stay together, push, whole foot on the floor, and down. Good. Bring your legs back to neutral, readjust if you need to. Hands are gonna stay above your head. So from here, I want you to think about your underside of your shoulder, underside of your shoulder girdle. Don't pull from your hands, pull from under here. We're gonna actually lift the weight up. Straighter arm, slightly bent. Let the weight go back behind your head. Keep your arms close to your body. Up. Can you pull from where your shoulder blades are and not from your hands? Can you find that? Now, can you add abdominal exhale? So I'm on purpose trying to draw my belly button in with the exhale, with the shoulder pull. We're working on, again, the core body. You can stay right here if you want to add more. You can exhale, lift your arms and your legs, but really make sure where you're coming from. All right? So it's not from your extremities. Exhale, shoulder blades, belly, and legs maybe. Okay? Exhale. If you're doing this well, you're going to get a little shimmy shake in your core. And then, of course, the last and final piece, if you want it, is you lift your head. And I'm not trying to touch my hands and my feet together. I'm trying to remember. I'm pulling from my shoulder girdle. I'm exhaling and drawing my belly button to my spine. And then I'm adding the resistance of my head and my legs. If I want. Last time. Good. And then rest. All right, weights go off to the side. Take your legs into a bent-legged position, wide apart, and let's just let your legs swish from one side to the other. Swishing from one side to the other. Taking a moment to pause. Stretch, release any tension. Good. And then leave your feet apart, but just let your knees come together. Push into your knees just a little bit. Bring your arms to your belly. So you might even want to palpate your quadriceps hip flexors to make sure they're relaxed. You want them relaxed here. You don't want them feeling tense. If they're tense, try a different position with your feet, maybe walk them wider, closer. You want this to be relaxed. And then hands on your belly. Take a nice deep breath, expanding. Exhale, contracting. And then at the end of that exhale, go a little bit more. Inhaling. Exhaling. And then go a little bit more, like you're squeezing the air out using your diaphragm muscle. 3 more like that. When you think you're at the end of your exhale, do a tiny little bit more, squeeze it out, and then let that inhale just float open. Remember, the exhale is the working part of the breath. Everybody thinks it's the other way around, but it isn't. Exhaling is the working part. So imagine contracting your muscles. It's your working part. And then the inhale is the release. It's the expansion. See if you can feel that. Exhale, and keep going. When you get to the end, you're just kind of squeezing the last little bit. You'll feel your abdominal muscles contract, and then inhale, float, and then just let everything go. Turn your eyes to the left. See if you can put your ear down. Breathe. Right shoulder releases to the floor. You can let your arms rest down at your sides if that's more comfortable. And then bring your head back to center. Turn your head to the right. See if you can put your right ear down. Let go of your left shoulder. Come back to center. Bring your knees to your chest, give them a little hug, a little pull. And then put your left leg down and cross your right ankle. We did this in the beginning, but now we're going to stretch. So keep everything as neutral as possible. Lift your legs up and see if you can find a place to hold. Flex both feet. And then remember going back to that right and left sacrum, lower back's not in, is in neutral, shoulders are down. Overstretching can be just as detrimental as not stretching enough. So if you're a super flexible person, and I know you want to feel the stretch, I know how satisfying that is. See if you can back off a little bit and then use your muscles. Push your ankle into your leg, pull a little bit with your arm, create a little muscular work around that right hip socket. And then exhale, lower down. Good. Stretch your legs straight up to the ceiling. Hold your leg and flex and point your foot a couple times. Encircle the ankle. Try not to move the leg. You're moving completely from the ankle. Go the other way. And then go ahead and put your foot down. Switch legs. Left ankle over right leg. Keeping neutral. See if you can lift and find a place to hold. Once you do that, again, if you're super flexy, use your muscles. Push your ankle into your leg and resist a little bit with your arm. You don't have to do it super hard. You just have to do it enough to engage the muscles so that you're not overstretching. Now, if you are a super tight person, you might want to try the other way and just relax. Nice deep breath here. And then put your foot down, stretch the leg all the way up. You can hold it with your hands if you like, and flex and point your foot. Try to relax on your sacrum. Try not to push with this other leg. And then circle. And circle. Put your feet down. Give it a big stretch. Arms overhead, legs down. All the way out. Big reach. And then a last stretch before we go into Shavasana, turn over on your belly. We did a lot of quad work today, so it'll feel good to stretch it. So bring your left foot to your bottom, reach around with your left hand, put your head down on your arm, and pause here. Now draw the pubic bone toward the floor so that you get in that proper engagement. And if you want a little bit more stretch, you can lift your head and shoulders up, but don't push your foot away from you. Keep it close. Take a nice deep breath. And then release. Before we go to the other side, take your same leg and just slide it outward on the floor so you look like a half frog pose. And turn your head in the opposite direction. And take a couple breaths here. Go ahead and lower that leg. And just switch sides. Right foot comes up, reach around with your right hand. Put your head down on your arm. Make sure you're drawing the pubic bone toward the floor. Drawing the foot towards the buttocks. Take one more breath. And release it. Hands come back under your forehead. Slide that leg out to the side and see if you can turn your head towards the left. And then go ahead and release. And turn back over. Come back to Shavasana. So once you're lying on your back and you bring yourself into that quiet position of Shavasana, you can do all the things you know that your body loves. You can cover yourself up. You can put your legs up the wall. You can put a sandbag over your pelvis. You can all these things. Make it luscious. Once you have yourself settled and you know you're not going to move, take a nice deep breath. Exhale and letting yourself melt. In great appreciation for your time together on the mat. Take a deeper breath. And allow that breath to awaken you from the inside out. Stretching fingers and toes, arms and legs, coming back to your body and the space around you. As you feel ready, you can bend your knees and roll to a side.
And find your way up to sitting. Excuse me. Once you're seated, bring your hands together to your heart. Thumbs touch your breastbone. As in the beginning, slide your fingers upward just ever so slightly to float the rib cage up. Set your shoulders back and down and bow your head. Gratitude for our time together in the mat, on the mat, our deep body wisdom and guiding light. May our light always shine brightly, and may we always see the light in each other. Namaste.